Okay, ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies, ladies and gents, we got something that we want to show you. And I guarantee you, if you pay attention, you will understand something and learn something and know what your options are. You'll also know what we're doing in the future. As we told you, right about the 15th of this month, and we're just going to have to ask that you be patient because this is a lot of work putting this together, making sure that people are qualified, they are trained, and they render decisions honorably, because that is the point. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about. I'm going to try to keep this short. I have people who are asleep around me, so I got to keep the voice down. Pay attention. This is the Sitcom Arbitration Association. Please visit the site. The webpage is not complete. It will be complete. We ask that you bear with us like a polar bear. Okay? Now, what is arbitration? I want you to pay attention because this is absolutely necessary that you understand. Arbitration is just nothing but you and a group of people getting together and having a conversation. That's all arbitration is. And you let the other person decide which side put forth the best argument based on the information. That's arbitration. You do it in court all the time. That's right, they're not practicing a real court case. Interesting thing, I had a judge tell me today when he asked was I going to represent myself. I simply told him I was going to speak on my own behalf. He told me, no, you will answer my question according to yes or no. No, I will not answer your question according to the way you want me to answer it. I will answer the question according to the way I answer, because that's how I answer questions. You don't get to dictate how I answer questions. That was the conversation with him. He got upset. Poor little hissy had a hissy. And I'm okay with that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a trip. Where are you at? Downloads? Right there. We're going to take a trip on downloads because this is necessary that we go here. Then we're going to let you know, because we just put up a video letting you know about this, but we're doing it again. See this right here? Private law arbitration files. And you're going to go to contract, conditional acceptance, okay? You're going to go there. Now, we got a lot to talk about, so I want y'all to prepare yourselves. Put on your little thick hats and let's go. That's Reynolds. And we're going to talk about this Reynolds case because those individuals, if you know somebody who was convicted of a offense prior to 2006, if they were convicted of an offense prior to 2006, I want you to understand, and those of you who have people who they're continuing to try to harass them, okay, pay attention so that you get it. This is the Supreme Court. Matter of fact, we're going to highlight all of this. The Supreme Court says the act does not apply to them until the Attorney General so specifies. Here's the problem. The Attorney General would have to go back and rewrite the law that he promulgated, the so-called interim rule. See? Because this is all, thus it found the interim rule's validity made no difference in the outcome. The interim rule validity makes all the difference. And that's what the Supreme Court ruled when they came to this case. Here's the thing. He can't go back and redo the interim rule. Why? Because it's already been done. It's already been applied to these individuals. 700,000 plus. It's already been applied to them. They have been having an illegal act applied to them for more than 15 years. So how do they correct it? Well, not more than 15, about 14. But how do they correct it? By simply knowing the facts that the act does not apply to them, and there's nothing the Attorney General can do to correct that. You see, this was in 2012. Well, the Attorney General, with the act, he went ahead and he amended certain sections. You know, he corrected this, added that. The only problem is, I'm looking for, this is just the syllabus. This is not the actual complete everything. This is just the syllabus and how they got to their conclusion. But when you read the actual law, you'll see, oh, there it is right there. Okay, it says the act which makes it more uniform and effective patchwork of pre-act federal and 50 state systems became law in 2006. In February 2007, the Attorney General promulgated this rule. Then he again came back and did it in 2008 and 2009. Guess what? There's a problem. When the Attorney General did that, he didn't follow the Administrative Procedures Act, because he said that, well, due to the nature and the expediency of which things needed to be done, we're not going to have a public hearing. When he said he was not going to have a public hearing, the rule that he made was not valid. See, the other court said it didn't matter. So the Supreme Court stepped in and said, wait, hold on a minute. Hold on. Yes, it did. And the gentleman's name was Billy Joe Reynolds. And he was the one who came up with the argument. And his argument rescues over 700,000 people. It doesn't matter what you believe, how you feel about it. Anytime one of us is being abused, anytime one of our rights are being violated, all of our rights are being violated. One of us being chained means none of us are free. And so whether or not you have an opinion, you have to understand that this stupidity can't be allowed. It just simply can't. Now, I got a story for y'all. We're going to minimize that. This is the arbitration contract. Now, you notice if this document needs to go to other parties, you are to indicate their names here. Remember, do not use lines or pleading papers. That is the documents with the numbers along the side. You know, they have that 1 through 20 on this side right here. That's called a pleading paper. You don't want to submit a pleading to the court, because a pleading means you submit to the court's jurisdiction. And no, I refuse. So, got a little experience to tell y'all about. I am so disappointed in our wonderful system of justice, because it ain't a system. It ain't justice, and it ain't right. I tell y'all, it ain't right. So what are we going to do about it? On Wednesday, at about 7:30, something came over me and said, when they knock on the door, answer it. And so I said, okay, I will. And I'm really literally having that conversation. Something came over me and said, when they knock on the door, answer it. And I said out loud, I will. Well, guess what? The following morning, I wake up a little bit late because I need to get that extra sleep because I've been up for so long. And so I wake up about 9:40. I tell somebody I got to call you back because I'm just waking up, and I'll give you a call back in an hour. And then before 10:15 gets there, I get a knock on the door. Now, I told y'all they were coming at me. And I say, who is it? And the person says, the sheriff department. I go, 1 second. I go and I open the door and I say, what could I do for you? He says, are you EeON? I say, yes, I is. He says, we've been having a rash of burglaries in an area and we just wanted to make sure that there were no problems here. And then he told me he had a warrant for the arrest of EeON. Now, he did not have a warrant for the arrest of EeON, but nonetheless, they arrested me. California has a 72-hour program to where if someone comes to arrest you, they have 72 hours to bring you before a magistrate. Other than that, can't keep that case. Got to go bye-bye, kick it back. Well, they claim that the DA's office can refile. No, they can't. And nobody's been challenging them on whether or not they can or they cannot. You see, they want to pull up all of these case laws telling you what your rights are. Excuse me, my rights are not dependent on some case. Well, you're showing the Reynolds case. How is that blah, blah, blah? Because here is the point. My rights are not dependent on that case. The Reynolds case was the Supreme Court expressing what Reynolds' rights were and how the Attorney General violated the rights of Reynolds and the public. Two different things, two different arguments, two different points. Whew. So glad we got that out of there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, they came, we went to the station, gave them no hassles, made sure I got my legal paperwork because I had it waiting right there by the door. Made sure I got my minimication. Had it waiting right there by the door. Well, guess what happened next? They puts me in the car and we drive all the way down to the sheriff's station. When we get there, the first thing they start asking, oh, I'm sorry. We get there, I'm cooperating. I ain't said nothing wrong, backwards, or anything to nobody. I done cooperated the whole time. We get inside, there's 9 of them officers waiting on me. 9. So I go, interesting. Just a, interesting. Okay, so as those 9 people are standing around there, one of them is asking me questions. I said, okay, you need to give me a second. You cannot all talk at the same time, only one person at a time. What is it you need? You need me to do that? You need me to do that? Okay, here you go. Where do you need me to put it? Where do you need me to do this? And he just kept on. He kept asking questions. I said, now here's the thing. You asked me a redundant question. I'm not answering it. Well, I know the questions are redundant, but I need you to answer. I didn't ask whether you needed me to answer. I said, I can't handle redundant questions. So please don't do that. If it's redundant, I will not answer. Then I also said, hey guys, I am a 14%er. That means that if I tell you no, there is nothing you can do after that to tell me yes. We're going to show you. So then they wanted to take fingerprints and photos. Said, you're not taking anything. Okay. They said, oh, yes, we are. I said, okay, well, then if you got the right to take it, then why are you asking me if I'm going to give it to you? Because blah, blah, blah. No, ain't because nothing. Either I have the right to refuse or I don't. So if well, you don't have the right to refuse. Well, then fine. Show me the law that says that. Other than that, I don't want to hear it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is not your argument. The fingerprints and photos is testimony against you. There is nothing anybody can say contrary to that because that's the facts. That's the law. It is evidence against you. The fingerprints and photos are used against you. Why? Because that's how they determine, the jail that just arrested you, whether you have wants and warrants. Other than that, before that, all they have is your name. Oh, and you definitely want to get rid of that driver's license stuff. You see, all I gave them was the, what is that, passport, the world passport. That's what they received. They didn't like that. I didn't care. It's not my business. You have 72 hours to play, is the whole mindset I had from the very beginning. Well, not only did they deprive me of my shirts, took both my shirts, t-shirt and cover shirt, and threw me in a cell to sit up there and freeze. This has been done before, but they did this on purpose. And then they eventually brought me back my shirt, then said, well, if you just answer a couple of medical questions. I said, medical questions? I never refused to answer your medical questions. You never asked me. Well, we just assumed. I said, and that's your fault. So they asked me the questions. I gave them the answers. Didn't care about that junk. Next thing you know, they bring me a shirt. And that's all they bring me. So I'm sitting up there in little pants, little shirt, and little socks. They won't give me my shoes. Told them, no, those are medical shoes. I need them shoes. They say, we ain't giving you them. You ain't getting them, so don't worry about it. Don't ask no more. I said, all right, I see how y'all is. So guess what they do? They leave me sitting in that cell for the next 4 days. The same cell. Don't move me. Don't transfer me. Don't send me no place else. Then all of a sudden, they send me to another cell, the one right over. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have told you. There was no bed in that cell. It just had a bench. So there was no bed. And so what they would do is they would bring me to the cell next door, which had a mattress on the floor. And they constituted that as providing me a mattress. Now, I'm sure that they've convinced themselves that that was good enough. I'm certain they did. I don't think they understand me. So I'm going to get their attention. All right. Whew. Ladies and gentlemen, the next thing they did was they would not allow me to use the phone to call anybody. Then they would bang and pound on my door. Now, look, there was this one guy. I think his name, I forgot the fool's name, but he was a youngster. And he would come to the door and he would yell out the name and sing it and shout it. 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:15, 1:30, 1:45, 2 o'clock, 2:15. Every 15 minutes he came by screaming out that name, yelling it. So you know what I told him? I told him, without him being able to hear me, I done had enough of you. So I stood up at the window and I looked around And I said, "What'd you say?" "No, I don't want to have sex with you." "And no, a black stick, big black stick. What is that? What's wrong with you?" "No," And let's just say a sexual harassment charge is what I told them I wanted to file immediately. Let me explain something to you all. Nobody banged on the door after that. Nobody banged on the window. Nobody was yelling and screaming at that window from that point on. I mean, they now watched when they came to that window. Now there were two people coming to the window every single time. I looked at that as my protection. Okay? All I know is I don't play that. They don't get to outsmart me. They are not smarter than I am. Sorry, it's just the way it is. That's the only way to say it. Well, again, the next day, they made it harder on me, making it more difficult. Now, I wasn't eating. I was fasting during the time. From Wednesday until tonight, I did not eat a single ounce of anybody's food. Drank water, but that was it. Okay? And so they thought I was protesting, putting on a circus. They thought that I was doing a so-called movement in there, a hunger strike. Please. As much as I love food. Well, anyway, like I said, they made things harder and more difficult. Not being able to make phone calls, not being able to get in touch with anybody, not being able to say nothing to nobody because they wouldn't let me write up a complaint or nothing. All right. So here is the situation, ladies and gentlemen. What took place next, after all that is being said, is the next day. It is Monday. They send someone to pick us up because now they got to transport me to another facility where the so-called warrant claimed to issue. Where did the warrant come from? The warrant came from a matter where I was trying to help save someone's home. I was filing our paperwork and doing a land patent. We had the land patent filed, but the thing is they rejected it because they said it did not have the correct fee. I didn't give them all the fee that they wanted according to their fee schedule, and all we had to do was send in their correct fee and it would be filed. Well, what we did is we walked it in, but the minute I came into the office, all of a sudden, I didn't get nothing. They would not allow me to file nothing, would not allow me to do nothing. They took one look at me and said, "Oh no, he ain't, not in here, he ain't." And so I filed a discrimination complaint against them. Well, they took that discrimination complaint and they ignored it. And when they ignored it, that's all she wrote. Okay? So I took it and told them I wanted it appealed. They said they were going to have the attorney, or the district attorney, do an investigation on me. And there you go. The district attorney started its investigation on me. And next thing you know, he brings charges November 29th, 2018. That's the district attorney. And they held me in there. And this last stint, when they switched me to the other facility, these guys treated me with so much disrespect, causing me all kind of pain on purpose, assaulting me, not real physical, but assaulting nonetheless. And yeah, they tried to make life extremely difficult. Taking me yesterday morning because I refused to go through their full body scanner. Told them, no, I'm not doing the full body x-ray that you guys have, that the airports have. I said no. I said that thing disrupts my nervous system. I can't let you do that. No, it doesn't do that. Excuse me? I don't care what your reports say. Your reports have nothing to do with my body. And we took care of that. There was no going through no stupid scanner. The individuals then took me because they said that they suspected me of having contraband, and they put me in one of those cells, which they refer to as the contraband cell. That cell is basically the person in there with a husky gown, and that's it, and a hole in the floor where they can go and relieve themselves. Enough is what I said. They kept me in there for 5 hours. Finally, the doctor comes. The doctor sees my condition, and the doctor tells them, no, give him his shoes. No, you will give him that too. No, you will do this. she wasn't the nicest person, but she saw that there was no faking. Ladies and gentlemen, the muscular dystrophy is taking a great toll over the past 7-8 months. I didn't pay attention to it because I didn't know it was happening. But the veins in my right and left arm, in the forearms, are gone. They were there. You know, you see the guys who are lifting weights and everything, see all them veins in the forearm? No, I don't have those anymore. They're gone. I mean, there are some minor ones. They're so small that they're not even a centimeter across. They are that small, and you can see that they're getting smaller. That's the dystrophying. That's why the muscles end up dystrophying, because they're not getting any more blood supply. And so my blood supply is being dwindled to nothing within the arm. You see, told you you were going to learn something. Well, in the end, they took me, had somebody bring me to the hospital in the late evening, and that was just for a regular checkup. They were just running some tests. The heart monitor, the breathing, all of that, the blood pressure, that's all they were doing. They do it all the time. Every first time I go and I speak to the doctor finally, they always run the exact same tests. And this was exactly what they did. While I'm there, another officer comes in, and I notice that he has a bag, and it looks like my jacket inside. And he says, okay, you can release him now. Okay, he's no longer our problem. And so they released me at approximately about 6:30 this evening, 7 o'clock. And ladies and gentlemen, the first thing everybody and their grandmother would do is try to retaliate. No, I'm not. I'm not going to file a single complaint. Do you know why? Because we already did our contract. They already have a copy of our contract. It is similar to this one that we put online. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, I am getting ready to redo this contract for those of you who want to go after your accounts. Now remember, everybody's been talking about getting access to their TDA accounts and getting out of the system. We told you that that's exactly what we're going to do. Well, we're going to use the arbitration process to get access to your TDA accounts. That's why I told you I've already done this for the SAT Packers. Okay? We just haven't had the, pay attention, arbitration hearing yet. So what we're going to do is our arbitration hearings are going to be electronic. Completely electronic, to where people send their paperwork in. Our arbitrators will be looking for things such as this. The questions that are being asked, like all of this, and they'll be looking for, hold on, oh, there it is up there. We'll be looking for an arbitration clause. And after the arbitration clause would have to specify exactly what's to be done. And then, after we have our arbitration clause, we'll be looking for how an individual is to be liable, okay, for violating the terms of the contract. And how there was an obligation on both parties. That's why this is not written in your favor. This is written to where everybody has an obligation. That's why you must know what your contract says so that you can comply with it as well. Hold on. I'm going to skip down because there are certain things we don't need to have. We have the 10-day provision. As we said before, some people have been saying, well, 10 days, I'm told that, you got to give them 14 days. Ladies and gentlemen, those are suggestions. Those are not laws. So we give them 10 calendar days with the option of requesting additional calendar days. Let's show you guys something about arbitration law so that you'll get it. International Accepted Principles of Law Governing Contractual Relation. This is Deutsche. Okay? If the contract, valid or otherwise, contains an arbitration clause, then the proper form to determine the contract, whether it's valid or not, is an arbitration tribunal, not the court. Pay attention. They cannot challenge it in court. They have to do it in arbitration. That's why your arbitration clause says any dispute must be handled in arbitration. That any determination by the arbitrator is binding on all the parties and that all parties agree to abide by the decisions of the arbitrator, that the arbitrator is to render a decision based on the facts and conclusions as presented within the terms and conditions of the contract. Any default by any party must be supported by proof and evidence of said default. That default shall serve as tacit acquiescence on behalf of the party who default is supposed to be defaulted. So we'll correct that later, because we're going to be amending this. All right. Went the wrong way, y'all. All right. As having agreed to the terms and conditions associated. These are the cases we want you to understand. The courts have been dealing with arbitrations all this time. And if the courts can't go by their own rationale, the arbitrator can't go by their own rationale. And that's why we put the laws you didn't know exist. That's why we added those to this document. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I told you, we're going to be using this document very soon to be having access to the TDA account. We will be creating another document that will be designed for individuals such as, pay attention, those who are incarcerated. Many of you have family and friends who are incarcerated. If they have not committed a violent crime, meaning where somebody got hurt, if it was just selling of this drug or that drug, then you will qualify. All you do is download the document the way it is, put in the addresses of the different cities and states where they're located and the penal institution that's holding them, and you send a copy to the penal institution, you send a copy to all the other parties on that document, and now you've created the contract, and now we process the contract for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was my cell phone down to 15 seconds, and it's also the same cell phone that they cracked my screen. Uh-oh, not 15 seconds, my phone turned off. Oh well. This is the phone that won't be used anymore. So if any of you have been trying to contact me, you're going to find that you've been getting nothing but voicemail. I will listen to the voicemail one last time this morning, and then that will be it for that phone. I'll be using the one that I told you where the SIM card cost me $300. Well, because I bought that SIM card for $300, that's the phone I'll be using from this point forward. Why will I be using only that phone? Because that phone is a 9-year plan. I don't have to spend another dime on that phone. That phone stays on for the next 9 years. Okay? It's been on for a month and a half now. I don't care if the company is in business next year, because this is all about the signal, having access to the signal, not having access to the company. And so, again, I'm okay with that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what I was going to do while I was in there was have individuals help me create a document. I was going to tell them what I wanted in the document. We were going to create the document, and then we were going to use it for the different people who were inside the facility, having them fill out the information and send the information off to the courts. We were going to fill the courts with this information so that they would have to deal with whether or not the contract is binding, which would have caused a great deal of problems for them. We're still going to do it. I was going to stay in there and do that. I decided to get out and take care of it. All right, so that all of you know that everything is okay, please understand that this is the way to get out of the system. I am 100% positively certain of that. I don't see any other way that is better than this arbitration process when it is done right. Stay tuned as we tell you more in the future. Goodbye, everyone.